Hello and welcome to my router table build. This is going to be a real quick video. I took a lot of the steps and kind of skipped a lot of stuff so that it could be shorter and you can really just kind of get a good idea of what I'm trying to build here. So to start off, I ended up laminating a piece of 3/4 ply and 2 1/2-inch MDF pieces to give me the strength and stability of this table. The final dimensions came out to be about 36 inches wide by about 22 inches deep. A lot of times router tables would be 36 by 24, but you know, since I'm wanting to do this out of scrap wood, I wanted to make sure I wasn't having to spend a whole lot of extra, and those are dimensions that worked out well for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut tabletop on all 4 sides to make sure everything's nice and square. And here's where I'm realizing I can't wait until I get to build my new fence for my table saw. And as in previous videos, I will skip over some of the slower stuff like cutting these edges. One of the things I did do with this build is I did skip some of the steps as well. I rounded off some of the corners of this tabletop, and then I came back and routed the edges. And because this project took quite a bit of thought just to make sure I was doing it right, I wasn't following any plans, so this was all pretty much out of my head. I ended up skipping some steps where I did more thinking and more planning. Here I'm using a 1 1/2-inch Forstner bit in preparation to route out the hole that the mounting plate will end up sitting in. In the next step, I'm going to end up routing out the shape of where the mounting plate fits. Each pass I went about 1/4 inch deeper, so it took quite a while to get this accomplished since I'm working with 1 3/4 inch of material. And yes, I know I should have my dust mask on, especially considering I'm going to go into MDF here, and that stuff can be pretty nasty. For this first section, I used a top-bearing flush trim bit. Once I flipped it over, I switched to a bottom-bearing flush trim bit. For the sake of sanity, I skipped a lot of the next steps. I will show one piece of it, but basically I applied a liberal coat of shellac after sanding, and then I would sand between each coat. I think I ended up doing about 4 different coats, going all the way from about 120 grit all the way up to about 420 grit sandpaper. This gives me a really nice smooth finish, which allows me to slide material across the tabletop with ease. Next steps are going to be to route the grooves for the T-track. You can see I already did one on the right. And as you can see in the shot, I have both sets of T-tracks put in there, rounded the edges off. Now I'm going to install the brackets that hold the mount plate. It's actually leveling brackets, so I can perfectly level the mount plate to the top of the tabletop. And then once that's completed, I put in the router, make sure everything's nice and level, and then it's going to be on to the router fence. The router fence I did off camera as well. The fence is made from a 1/2-inch piece of laminate with 2 1/2-inch MDF pieces for the angle. I cut a hole in it for the dust collection. I also cut a slot across the face of the fence for other T-track accessories. After making sure everything was nice and square, I test fitted it to the table, and then I put in the bolts for the T-track to allow the fence to slide back and forth. After mounting the router top to the base, attaching the router to the plate, I decided to do some tests. And that's about it for this video. Let me know if you like this shorter format, or if you'd like me to do videos that give a little more detail. I'm considering putting up plans for certain projects. I do have a couple of projects in mind that I'm going to work on over the next couple of weeks. Please subscribe, throw a thumbs up to this video, it would be wonderful, and if you hit the bell, you'll get notified when I post a new video.